Some prayers are not loud. They don't shake the room. They don't come with perfect words. Sometimes worship sounds like trembling breathing in the dark, like tears falling on a pillow at midnight, like a tired soul whispering toward heaven, hoping God is still listening. And tonight, this is all I have. I came to you with a silent heart, pieces of me falling apart. No strength to hide the pain inside, no place left for me to run and hide. The night was heavy on my soul, questions only heaven knows. But even here beneath the weight, I feel your grace. So I whisper through the tears, hoping somehow you are near. This is my whisper to heaven, a fragile prayer in the dark. I do not have all the answers, but I place my heart in your hands. When my faith feels barely breathing, when the silence feels too deep, you still hear every broken word inside this whisper to heaven. There are scars nobody sees, silent wars inside of me, moments when I almost let go, but somehow you would not let me fall. And every sleepless, lonely night, you stayed beside me through the fight. Even when I could not speak, you understood me. Every breath becomes a prayer, every wound meets you there. This is my whisper to heaven, a trembling song filled with hope. Even the weakest surrender still reaches the heart of God. When my soul is tired and empty, and I have nothing left to give, you still gather every whisper like it was worship on your lips. You hear the prayers I cannot say. You stay when everyone walks away. You hold my heart without a sound when all my walls are falling down. And maybe faith is not a fire, maybe sometimes it is just a small whisper in the darkness, still choosing to trust. This is my whisper to heaven, soft and somehow you always hear it. So here in the quiet, with no audience, no performance, no perfect words, just me and God, and one small whisper rising toward heaven. I used to think worship was something born in victory, in answered prayers, in open doors and peaceful nights. But then the silence came, the kind of silence that keeps you awake at 3 a.m., the kind that makes tears fall without sound. And somewhere between the breaking and the healing, I found God sitting with me in the dark, and there was worship, even there. I remember the night my strength gave out, floor beneath my knees, tears on the ground. Every promise felt so far away. Heaven was quiet, nothing seemed to change. I prayed with trembling hands and fragile faith, heart full of questions I was scared to say. But in the middle of my deepest pain, your presence stayed. When I had no song left to sing, you heard the whisper underneath. There was worship in my suffering. There was faith inside these shattered things. Every tear became an offering. Even broken, I was listening. You were near me in the fire, closer than the fear inside. And though my soul was barely breathing, there was worship in my suffering. I stopped asking why the storm remained, and started learning how to call your name. Not because the hurt had disappeared, but because somehow I knew you were here. You held my heart through every lonely hour, turned my weakness into sacred ground, and every scar became another place where mercy poured out. When the darkness filled the room, your love was teaching me the truth. There was worship in my suffering. There was hope inside these wounded dreams. Every cry became a melody. Heaven heard the sound of everything. You were near me in the fire, closer than the fear inside. And though my soul was barely breathing, there was worship in my suffering. I worshiped through the waiting, I worshiped through the ache, I worshipped when the healing still felt so far away. Because you are still holy, even when I cannot see. And you are still worthy in the middle of my grief. The pain did not define worship in my suffering. So if you're crying in the dark tonight, if your faith feels weak, if all you have is one last prayer whispered through tears, He still hears you. He still stays. And even now, there is worship in your suffering. There was a season when I stopped knowing how to pray. Not because I stopped believing, but because the pain became too heavy for words. I would sit in the dark for hours, staring at the ceiling, trying to say something to God. And all that came out was silence. But heaven was not ignoring me. Heaven was listening. Even then. I used to speak with fire in my lungs. Now every prayer feels undone. The weight inside my chest won't move, and I don't know what else to do. So I sit here with these tired eyes, holding tears I cannot hide, wondering if you still hear what I cannot say. Because my soul is full of ache, and words keep slipping away. But heaven was listening to my silence. You heard the pain I could not name. Every tear became a language, every breath called out your name. And when I had no strength to worship, no song left inside my soul, You stayed close in the quiet and loved me through it all. I thought faith meant having words strong enough to reach the earth, but maybe faith is simply this: still sitting here in your presence, even when my hands hang low, even when my heart feels cold. You remain beside the broken, closer than I know. You understand the silent cries hidden deep behind my eyes. Heaven was listening to my silence. You knew the sorrow in my chest. Even when my lips stopped moving, you still called my heart blessed. And when I could not find the answers or understand this wounded road, you wrapped mercy around my weakness and carried what I could not hold. You hear the prayers without a sound. You see the tears falling down. You stay when all my strength is gone, teaching my heart to hold on. And maybe the holiest prayers are not the loudest ones we speak. Maybe heaven comes the closest when we are too weak to breathe. Heaven was listening to my silence. Every moment I thought you were far, you were sitting in the darkness, holding every shattered part. Now I know you never needed perfect words from me at all, because love was already listening before I learned to call. So if all you have tonight is silence, if your faith feels exhausted, if your heart is too wounded to pray, Do not mistake your silence for abandonment, because sometimes the quietest pain reaches heaven the deepest.